Pasco County 911. What's your emergency?
I just killed my children.
Excuse me?
I just killed my children.
Where are you?
I'm in the abandoned house on Highway 77 right after you go underneath the highway. One of them's still alive. Hurry.
Under what highway? You're on Highway 77 where?
I'm on Highway 77 right after you go under 35 going towards Milford. Get an ambulance out here to save the one that didn't die. Come on. Hurry up.
What's your name?
Bitch, call them. Have you already called them?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Okay.
I need your name.
I don't want to tell your name.
Hello?
Hello?
Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
77 toward Milford, right after you cross under the bridge. She's telling me she's killed her children. Are you in your car?
No, I'm not in my car. I'm in the house walking around. And one of them's still alive for real. She's asking to be saved, and I couldn't handle that. And so now
She's in an abandoned house.
It's been a long time. She might already die because she's flat out alive. And hold on. What, baby? She said, please send to her.
Okay. Well, we've got people en route. Get an ambulance because one of them's still alive, she said.
We are taking your calls live, and joining us tonight, the husband of that woman, the woman that calls 911, calls the dispatch officer a bitch, refuses to give her own name so it would not be on a recording. This after she kills one daughter in an isolated Texas ranch, attempting to kill the other. With me live, Lee Jeter, Janelle Jeter's husband. Motive, he was seeking divorce. Mr. Jeter, you stated that you spent time with her, but she wouldn't talk about Kelsey, your daughter, just 12 years old, dead. And I don't know if you know, I'm a new mother. My children are 2.5. I've got twins. And I can't even imagine, thank you, sinking all your love, all your hopes, all your dreams into your girls every single day, and then discovering the unthinkable had happened. That one had been murdered, the other's neck slit open by their own mother. When you tried to bring up Kelsey's name to her, what would she do?
She just didn't want to talk about it. She would speak of something else. She mainly wanted to talk about why she did it and her feelings
and about how she was angry at you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Dr. Leslie Austin, psychotherapist, New York. So even now, instead of talking about, I feel like all day long I am either with the twins, worried about the twins, talking about the twins, or dreaming about the twins and thinking I hear them all night long, whether I do or I don't. But she finally sees her husband, the father of these girls. She finally sees them after slitting their throats. And she talks about how she's angry at him. Help me, Leslie.
Well, this is somebody with severe sociopathic tendencies. It's not mental illness.
Break it
not
down.
mental illness.
I'm a JD. I'm not a PhD like you. What do you mean?
She has no empathy or compassion for anyone else. She can only deal with her own feelings. Of course it's not insanity. There is no insanity here, nor mental illness. There's very distorted, twisted thinking and a woman who is full of rage, trying to get control of every event in her life because she was losing control. She was losing her husband and her children, and this is just simply an act of out-of-control rage. Very violent, very, very twisted thinking, not mental illness in any way. Totally self-involved.
To Gene Casares, legal correspondent in session. Gene, not only are you a lawyer, but you have covered so many cases. What's your take on this, Gene?
You know, my take on this is that it's so similar to other cases in Texas, Nancy, in Texas. Andrea Yates, others. I think what's fascinating about this is the 911 call and the premeditation and the sameness. I mean, she was so specific in everything. She knew exactly how to take law enforcement to this abandoned house that she drove around and finally found herself. So I don't think the defense had any way that they could go the route of insanity here.
And did at any point she try to claim incompetence?
Not that I know of. No, not at all. With that 911 tape, Nancy, I don't think
there was no way. Back out to the father, Lee Jeter. Lee, so while you finally see her after all this time behind bars, what did she have to say about your little girl that lived?
Well, she said she was proud that she's doing good, and of course she had told her that she was sorry and wanted her to know that she didn't want her dead, didn't hate her, and she's real happy that she's able to move on. And
how is she doing? Is she, quote, moving on? Because I know how close I am to my brother and sister. I know that the first thing Lucy says in the morning is, "Where's John David?" and the reverse. So how is your daughter doing after the murder of her sister?
You know, naturally she misses her, but she's actually doing really well. She completed the whole school year. She's doing real good. She's always got a smile on her face. She's living life. She said she wasn't going to let this run her life, and I believe she meant it. So.
I pray. Out to the lines to Chris in California. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Nancy. First, I want to say my prayers go out to Mr. Jeter and his daughter. But I have a question. If they were going through a divorce, and I don't know if there was any kind of custody thing going on, if there was, and this was premeditated, who would allow this woman to have these children in order to do this? Do you know what I mean? I hope I make sense.
You mean, why did he let her go with the children to start with?
Right. Either him himself, or did the courts award it?
Well, at the time, you know, Mr. Jeter, you explain it. Why did you decide to let her see the children that day? In fact, one of them even posted it on Yahoo, on their, Facebook. They said, "Yay, I get to see Mom tomorrow." What was your thinking about letting the mom be with them?
Well, the day before, we had actually had a hearing on a protective order, or a restraining order I had filed. And during that hearing, she was awarded visitation.
So the judge ordered it.
The very next day, yes, ma'am. Which, you know, I agreed to it because no one on earth would think that the mother would do this to their children. And she seemed normal. So the very next day was her first visitation. And so I had to let him go. I didn't want to, but...
Mr. Jeter, did you have any clue that she would react this way? Any clue of any mental disturbance at all?
No, ma'am. You know, she had mood swings and attitude problem, but nothing like this. If I'd even had a glitch of a clue, then they wouldn't have went. They would have had to put me in jail.
I believe
but she was always protective. She was always protective over the kids.
So you had no signal, no warning this was going to happen. Back to the line, Santoya, North Carolina. Hi, dear.
Hi, Nancy. I would first like to offer my condolences to the father and just say I'm so sorry that happened to him. And I'm usually against the death penalty, but I'm disgusted that it's not going to be considered in this case. I don't see why not. And I was wanting to know, due to the fact that they're still married, would he be allowed to use his testimony at trial? I believe he should have a chance to speak out.
First of all, let me ask you this, Mr. Jeter, was the death penalty ever considered?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it was a possibility.
Why was it not sought? Why was it not sought?
Well, she agreed to a plea bargain. She said that was the last decent thing she could do for her daughter, and so she took the plea bargain so she didn't have to go to trial.
Everyone, we are headed to break. We are still taking your calls live tonight. The Race Across America 2010 fundraising for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. The Georgia Chain Gang making the 3,000-mile bike ride from San Diego to Annapolis starting June 12. Goal, $160,000 for research, education, patient services. The so-called Chain Gang riding on behalf of their crew chief, Warren Bruno, and 7-year-old Brennan Simpkins, bravely battling leukemia 2 years. To donate, go to gachaingang.org. Let's win the fight against leukemia.